chartered accountants are facing the challenge.
Are you a right-hander or a left-hander?
Right hand.
So you brush your teeth with your right hand?
Yes.
Suppose I'm telling you, Mufidha, can you start brushing your teeth with your left hand? Is it going to be that easy?
It's quite tough.
The same thing is going to happen for us. Income Tax Act 1961 did not completely disappear. Suppose I am changing my mobile number, I remain the same, but you change my contact number, you add it on. So that's what it is. The new law has not been replaced completely, but there are changes. It is just like a change in the contact number of the person. Suppose you are a consultant and you're going to ask me, sir, my receipts have gone up. Will tax audit apply? You're asking me this question. Any chartered accountant would say tax audit, section 44AB. Now this has changed. Now the new reference is section 63.
There is one big change in Income Tax Act 2025 is TDS. Can you please explain?
Plenty of sections were there in TDS. Now this has been clubbed. So for TDS, there are only 2 sections.
Is there anything in TDS that people will actually feel in real work?
Now the compliance is being made easier. Going forward, you need not obtain TAN for a single transaction. So their life will be better. See, the new tax law, it is not scary. It is actually the change in the habit.
Hello, Mufidha here from V Podcast by V for Visuals. Today we have guest CA Shankar Narayanan and we are going to discuss about Income Tax Act 2025. Welcome, sir.
Thank you.
Before going to the section, let's discuss about your CA journey.
All right.
How you became into the CA field?
That's a very good question, Mufidha. So before getting into the Income Tax Act 2025, it's better I can tell about my field.
Yeah.
My father gave me 2 options, either be a doctor or be a chartered accountant. My father was a chartered accountant, CA Satyavagishwaran. So he gave me the option, either be a doctor or be a chartered accountant. I chose the second option because he was running a practice, chartered accountant practice. I wanted to join him, so I just joined the course.
Great.
That's the reason why I came. There is no passion, nothing. My father said, I joined.
Very good. Here I heard many students are thinking about one signature can make more income. What is the real truth?
See, signature means it is a responsibility. We are accountable to the stakeholder. The moment a chartered accountant is giving a signature, is inserting a signature, it is so much of his years of efforts, pain, knowledge. So he is taking responsibility for the financial statements. Financial statements means the balance sheet, the profit and loss account and every document, notes forming part of accounts, cash flow. There are many documents. So these documents, each and every transaction is checked. The chartered accountant checks whether the financial statements are prepared as per the financial reporting framework, whether the laws and regulations are duly complied. There is standards on auditing which is given by Institute of Chartered Accountants of India, and he makes sure that the financial statements are fairly reliable in nature. So the signature just is not a matter of a small signature. What happens is, the moment you insert a signature, you are giving responsibility, you are undertaking the responsibility. The signature has got a value. This is what it is. So it's just like, the CA signature is something which adds value to the financial statements. The stakeholders will have more trust. Their credibility will be enhanced. That's what it is.
Yeah, this is great. And CA students have a good idea about this. Thank you, sir.
Right.
And let's go to the segments.
Right.
Today we are discussing about Income Tax 2025. And did government change the law?
See, not completely. The old tax law, Income Tax Act 1961, did not completely disappear. The 66-year-old act has changed. It is just like a change in the contact number of a person.
Okay.
So, suppose I am changing my mobile number, I remain the same, but you change my contact number, you add it on. So that's what it is. Yeah. So it is not the new law has not been replaced completely, but there are changes. It is just like a change in the contact number of the person. Let me give you one example here. See, the tax law which is going to get applicable from 1st of April 2026.
Okay.
One important point is, see, in Income Tax Act 1961 was using the term assessment year, previous year. So let's assume the financial year. Financial year means, let's assume that a financial year starts from 1st of April and it ends on 31st of March. So let's assume the financial year 2024-25. So it starts on 1st of April 2024 and it ends on 31st of March 2025. This financial year for 24-25 was considered as the previous year. And the year in which you file the return of income for the financial year 24-25, that is 25-26, is considered as the assessment year. You know what I mean, right?
Yeah.
So, the year in which you file the return, you assess the income for the previous year, financial year, will be considered as the assessment year. So, this concept has been changed. So, what the law is trying to do, the government has removed the two terms, assessment year, previous year, they are completely removed, and the government is just going to use the term tax year.
Okay.
So, that's one major change which is going to get implemented. Going forward from 1st of April 2026, you will not have assessment year, previous year. Instead, you will be just having the term tax year. So, that's one of the major change. Okay. Now, I'll give you some more examples where there is going to be a challenge. Mufidha, I just want to ask you one question. Are you a right-hander or a left-hander?
Right hand.
So, you brush your teeth with your right hand?
Yes.
All right. Suppose I'm telling you, Mufidha, can you start brushing your teeth with your left hand? Is it going to be that easy?
It's quite tough.
It's tough.
Yeah.
You need to practice, right?
Yes, we can do.
The same thing is going to happen for us. Because for a chartered accountant, we have section 10. The moment someone says section 10, immediately our mind strikes. It is exempt income. Now this section 10 has moved to section 11. So, this is the muscle memory for a chartered accountant, daily survival tool. Let me give you some more example. Section 13A, 13B, this dealt with the exempt income of political parties and electoral trust. These two sections, section 13A, 13B, they are clubbed into section 12, right?
Yeah.
Section
numbers is changed.
See, what happens is they were using the term 14A, 14B, 13A, like that. They're using various alphabet subsections were there. Now, these clauses are removed and they are made into separate sections. Let me give you some other examples as well. Section 14, that dealt with the heads of income. This has moved to section 13. Section 14 has moved to section 13. Now, let me give you another very good example. Two main things. Section 44AA. The moment, like if a chartered accountant talks about section 44AA, maintenance of books of accounts. Now this has moved to section 62, and a very important section for a chartered accountant. Section 44AB, that dealt with tax audit. That's a big change for us because it is a survival tool for us. Tax audit is something which is done by chartered accountants. We always say section 44AB audits. Now we have to unlearn that, and now we have to say section 63. It has moved to section 63. So that's a challenge. It's just like you're using from your right hand, you're shifting your left hand to brush your teeth. Anyway, you're brushing the teeth. That is going to continue. That the toothpaste might change, the paste might change, but the habit is changing, your muscle memory is changing. Yeah. So you need to adapt your muscle memory to something that is new. Yeah. Another example. See what section 139. This was a section that dealt with the filing of return of income. Now this has moved to section 263. Again, section 147, income escaping assessment. This is another important section which is applicable. I mean, if an income which is chargeable to tax, if it is escaping assessment, section 147 notice is there. So this has moved to section 279. And now, again, if an income is escaping assessment under section 147 and the notice to be issued is under section 148, and now this has moved to section 280. Again, 148A has become 281. So as I've told you, for a chartered accountant, these are not just random numbers, madam. These are daily survival tools. This has changed. So to get adapted, we need practice. We need to align with the new system.
You are challenging, right? Chartered accountants are facing the challenge.
Absolutely.
Like your muscle memory is according to section A, now changed to section B. And you want to practice, right? These are only the change government applicable, yeah?
So these are, this is one of the major change which is applicable for a chartered accountant. So what the government has done this, for us to get adapted to the new system, the CBDT website, the income tax website, they have created a navigation tool or a utility. So what you can do is, you can go to the CBDT website, go to the official mapping utility, click the old section, and it will help you to map with the new section. So as and when you practice, like it always says, there is a proverb, practice makes a man perfect. Yes. So through practice, you can get adapted to the new system.
Yes.
So this is what it is. The challenge is to unlearn what you have learned and you have to replace with a new section. So it will take some time.
Yes. Okay, let's go to the segment 2.
Right.
Let's do one example.
Okay.
One person wants to donate money and want the deduction. Which
Alright.
section will apply?
See, the moment you talk about donation, section 80G applied. Okay, 80G was a section which pertained to donation. Now this has moved to section 133. Now, let me give you some other examples which are related to section 80G. Section 80GG that dealt with deduction in respect of rent paid has moved to section 134. Now, section 80GGA that dealt with deduction in respect of donation to scientific and rural development has become section 135. See, when I say 80G, 80GG, 80GG, I don't have to worry about provision. But again, to recall the section number, I need to refer. So, because my muscle memory is still weak. So, I'll not be able to reproduce as it is. So, for reference purpose, I'm keeping this open. Hope this is fine.
Yeah.
Perfect. So, section 80G, that was a section that dealt with deduction in respect of donation. This has moved to section 133. Now, there are a couple of other examples. The moment I talk about 80G, there are certain sections which are similar to 80G. So, let me give those examples so that the viewers will be able to get a better picture. Section 80GG, this was the deduction in respect of rent paid. This has moved to section 134. Okay.
Just change the numbers.
Yeah, the numbers have changed. 80GG has moved to section 134, deduction in respect of rent paid. Section 80GGA, deduction in respect of donation to scientific research and rural development. This has moved to section 135. 80GG has moved to 135.
Yes.
80GGB, contribution to political parties by companies has moved to section 136. 80GGB has moved to 136. Contribution to political parties by companies has moved to section 136. 80GGC, contribution to political parties by persons, this has moved to section 137. Again, a regular section which is being used by salaried individuals, section 80C, that dealt with deduction in respect of insurance premium, contribution to provident fund, annuity fund, this has moved to section 123. 80C is something which is regularly used by a salaried individual, not only by chartered accountants, even salaried individuals were using this. So from 80C, they have to unlearn 80C and they have to recall section 123. Again, suppose a person, a salaried individual is having a doubt, he can go to the income tax website, he can go to use the official mapping utility, click 80C and the government will map section 123, and once you get adapted, you will be using section 123.
Okay, let's go to the segment 3. Suppose I'm a business owner, a freelancer or consultant or a doctor. What are the sections changes?
See, there are a couple of changes which are there. Suppose you are a textile trader. You are coming to me and asking me, sir, do I have to maintain proper books? So earlier, as per the Income Tax Act 1961, my mind would go to section 44AA. Now, under the new law, I should say, as per section 62, the reference point is changing. From 44AA, the reference has become section 62. Now, let's go to another situation. Suppose you are a consultant and you're going to ask me, sir, my receipts have gone up. Will tax audit apply? You're asking me this question. Any chartered accountant would say, now at this point of time, they would say, tax audit, section 44AB. Now this has changed. Now the new reference is section 63.
Yes.
You know what I mean, right?
Yeah.
Now suppose you are a freelancer again, or let's say you're a doctor, professional. Now you're asking me, can I go for presumptive taxation instead of maintaining detailed books? So for professionals, freelancers or something, professionals, doctor, lawyer, then in that case, we would immediately think of section 44ADA, which is the presumptive taxation. Now, this has shifted from 44ADA to section 58. So the trader's question, same. Consultant's question, same. And auditor's question is also the same, but what happens is the section number has moved. So this is what it is. The rules are already there. You already know it. So from one place, it has shifted to another place.
Okay, this is only challenging for chartered accountants. Okay.
Even for the public, because
Public.
even the public is accustomed to 44AB, 44ADA, the sections. Most of the public people who are regularly filing the return of income, they are aware of this.
Yeah.
So now they should recall the new section. As I told you, again, the same example I'm repeating, you have to, not the example, the practical use case. The CBDT website has given this utility tool. Use the official mapping utility tool, click the old section, they will map you to the new section. In that way, you get adapted.
They also want to rearrange their minds. Yeah.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Let's go to the segment 4, TDS. There is a one big change in Income Tax Act 2025 is TDS. Can you please explain?
Definitely. See, let me give you certain examples as per the Income Tax Act 1961. See, for TDS there were various provisions. I'll just recall what all is coming to my mind. 192, 194A, 194B, 194C, 194J, 194Q, 194IA, 194LA. There are many sections. So all these sections have changed. See, suppose it is salary, TDS on salary, section 192 applied. Okay. Now, suppose you are a contractor, you are invoicing me, and TDS is applicable under section 194C. Suppose you are a consultant, you are invoicing me, TDS applies under section 194J. Assume that you are a foreign and you have made a foreign remittance. As there is a foreign remittance applicable in a transaction, TDS is applicable under section 195. So, what happens here is, there are many sections. Now, the department has created a huge change. Under the Income Tax Act 2025, there are multiple sections as I told you, section 192, 194A, 194B, 194C, 194J, 194Q, 194LA, 194IA. I'm just trying to recall what is coming in my mind. 194H. Plenty of sections were there in TDS. Now this has been clubbed. So for TDS, there are only two sections. One is section 392. 392 deals with salary and accumulated balance in the employees' provident fund. That is section 392. And section 393. Section 393 is a major change because, see, when you file the TDS returns, we have 24 for salary, 26 is for others, in the amount payable to the residents. Now, all these, section 194A, 194C, 194J, 194Q, 194IA, 194H, all these are clubbed into section 393. Then, you have section 394, which pertains to TCS, tax collected at source. And you also have section 402, which is a chapter definitions. That is, definitions in connection with TDS. So what they have done is, section 392 is for salary, 393 is for the other TDS provision, section 394 is in connection with TCS, and section 402, this deals with the definitions. So this TDS, this lived across many sections. And the biggest change, as I told you, is section 393, because it is not a single rule. All the TDS section, that is, again, I am telling you 194A, 194C, 194J, 194Q, 194H. This is working through various tables. All these sections are put into tables. Now, these tables, this is working through various buckets. The first bucket, payment to residents. The second bucket, payment to non-residents. The third bucket, payment to any other person. Again, fourth one, cases where no deduction is required. And the fifth one, declaration for no deduction. So, this table is working across various buckets. So, under the new law, say under the previous law, I'll put it like this, under the previous law, the question was, sir, what is the rate of TDS? Now, the question is going to be, sir, which table am I going to be in?
Oh, that's a practical shift. Can you give some examples?
Right. Let's have some examples here. Suppose it is salary. The old section was section 192. Now, this is going to section 392. Now, let me give you some more examples. The real challenge. Assume that you are a contractor and you are giving me, and let's assume that I am giving you the work for office renovation, fabrication, labor contract, or transport contract. So, what you will do is, you will call me and say, what is the TDS applicable? I'm a contractor, I'm paying you this amount, so is TDS applicable? Then I will say, sir, as per section 194C, TDS has to be deducted at 1% or 2%. Now, I will not say 194C. Instead, I will say, sir, you go to table number 393. In that, you go to residence payment table. And in that, you go to serial number 61.
Okay, simple.
So, this we have to recall. This is the challenge. Let me give you some more example. Assume, again with the previous example, let's say chartered accountants, lawyers, freelancers, architects. When you ask me about the TDS, I will say, let's please refer section 194J. Now, again, as per the new section, I should say, madam, you go to 393. In that, you go to residence payment table, and in that, serial number 63.
Simple.
So what all we have to recall? We should not only recall the section number. Okay, section number we can recall, but we have to say about this residence payment table, and in that you have to say the serial number. That's the challenge here. Now, another example. Suppose you buy land or flat from a residence seller, and what about the TDS applicability? Previously, we say 194 IA. Now, as per the new law, I should say, section 393(1), you go to residence payment table, in that you refer serial number 31. So, you can imagine the amount, like how we have to learn, you can understand the challenge. Suppose it is a payment made to a non-resident. Suppose it is a payment made to a non-resident, the section was section 395. But now, it is section 393 under the non-residence payment table. Again, TCS, tax collected at source. Section 206C applied as per the old law. Now, under the new law, it is section 394 linked with certificate reporting default provisions under section 395, 397, 398. Unfortunately, I have to refer all this because my muscle memory is still linked with the old law, 1961. So, many things I have to refer.
So the listener should not think my whole tax understanding is gone. The better way to think is the same common situation are still there: salary, contractor, consultant, non-residents, TCS, but now I reach them through a new structure.
See, Mufidha, the point here is the business reality has not changed. Only the navigation method has changed.
Okay.
So, suppose in an office, the finance department they have to train their staff. They have to update the ERP. They have to implement the standard operating procedure. So, they should learn, the first lesson should be, as per the Income Tax Act 2025, Section 392 is for salary, Section 393 is for sections other than, TDS other than salary, Section 394 is for TCS, and Section 402 is in connection with the definitions for the various terminologies which are connected with TDS.
Fine, the map is clear now. But apart from section numbers moving, is there anything in TDS that people will actually feel in real work?
Yeah, a couple of changes are there. Let's go to the first case. Suppose a resident individual or HUF, they are buying property from a non-resident. The law here is, the law previously was, you have to apply for a TAN, then you have to deduct tax at source, TDS has to be deducted. Now, the compliance is being made easier. Going forward, you need not obtain TAN for a single transaction. So their life will be better. Because see, just for one transaction, applying for TAN itself is, it's a tough task. So a practical relief is going to be there. So this is going to get implemented. So let's go to the second case. People are often getting stuck with the term manpower supply. Because suppose, like people are having doubts whether this has to be considered as a contract service, or it should be considered as a professional service or a technical service. So because the TDS rate will differ. For professional service, the TDS rate is different. For contract service, the TDS rate is different. So people had a doubt, like whether this is whether it's a manpower supply, whether it's a work contract. So what happened was, I was also searching for the term works contract. So I checked the Income Tax Act 2025. I took the PDF version as finding. I searched work contract. I couldn't find out anywhere. Okay. Again, I took the printout. I was checking the physical copy. I tried to find out the work contract. Again, I couldn't find out. Then I saw it is not work contract. They are defining using the term work. which actually defines the manpower supply. So that definition is there, that's another change. For 15GH, the compliance is going to be more easier. Previously, you had to fill separate forms for 15GH and the forms will be filed. Now, this is going to be a system-based depository. So under that, you can actually file the 15GH rather than going for multiple declarations with various entities. So that makes it quite simpler. That's another shift.
Okay, let's go to the segment 5. Okay, this is where people really are confused. Section changing is one thing, but about the forms we actually use, like 26AS, Form 16, 15G, 15H, are those changing too?
Of course, there are many changes in the forms. See, let me give you certain examples here. Form 26AS, one thing that you asked, Form 26AS. So this is the form, this is a statement used by the assessees to check the TDS credit, the TCS, tax paid and overall tax information. Now, this Form 26AS has become Form 168. Every assessees were familiar with the term Form 26AS. Now, this has become Form 168. So, slowly you should unlearn 26AS and you should get adapted to Form 168. Again, this you should be familiar, Mufidha, Form 16.
Yeah.
Form 16 is the state document which is given by the employer to the employee, which is a TDS certificate in connection with salary. Now, Form 16 has become Form 130.
Yeah.
130, Form 130. Form 16A, the non-salary certificate. This has become Form 131. Again, the nil deduction form, Form 15G, Form 15H. This will be moved to Form 121. Now, very important thing for chartered accountants, Form 3CA, Form 3CB, Form 3CD, the tax audit forms. Now, this will be consolidated to Form 26. Form 3CA, Form 3CB, Form 3CD, the chartered accountants tax audit forms. This will be consolidated into Form 26. Again, for foreign remittances, we issue certificate under Form 15CA, Form 15CB. This will be form number 145, 146. And when you're filing an appeal, you have form number 35. This will be form 99. Now, if you have noticed me, Mufidha, when I'm talking about the old form, I don't have to refer.
Yes.
But the moment I say the new form, I have to refer because still I'm not able to recall. Haven't adapted to the new system.
Yeah.
Again, what I should do is, I should recall the old form, go to the income tax website, see the navigation tool, and go to the official utility, get the navigation tool, and then see the new form. So in that way, you can get adapted. So the old forms are still sitting in the website, income tax website, and now the new forms are going to get updated. But you can go to the income tax website, and you can go for the old form. You can click the old form, and they will map you with the new form. In this way, you can get adapted. So that's the way. It's very difficult to memorize everything.
Yes.
So that's the big challenge here.
Yes. So let's move to the last segment. So final verdict, should taxpayers or professionals panic?
See, Mufidha, the new tax law, it is not scary. It is actually the change in the habit. Let me give you an example here. You're using your used laptop.
Yes.
So the keypad is QWERTY, QWERTY. So for years, your fingers are adapted to QWERTY, QWERTY. Yes. Suddenly, like Apple or let's say, HP, they are designing a new laptop. Q has moved down, W has moved up, E has moved to some other direction, R has moved to some other direction. Now, you know the words which you have to type. And the alphabets also you know to type, but the letters have changed. Now it's where is Q? Where is W?
Where is the Q? Where is the W? It's changed.
So that's the challenge here. Same issue for chartered accountants, same issue for professionals, same issue for me as a professional, because I know the section. I know the section means I know the provision. Most of the provisions are retained.
Yes.
Section numbers have changed.
Yes.
But of course, in many cases, the provisions have also changed. But in most of the cases, the provisions are simplified. Section numbers have changed. So, with the memory of the old section, I should start recalling, I should study the new section, but the same provision. So that's the challenge here. So again, practice makes a man perfect. So similarly, the transition is like the tax issue is familiar, but our mind will stick on to the old thing. We need to get adapted to the new system, which will actually take time. Again, my advice, which I've repeated during the entire podcast, you can use the navigator, that is income tax mapping utility tool. You can select the old section and they will help you to map with the new section. And as and when you get adapted, you can start brushing with your left hand.
Yes. So we are winding up this section, and thank you for your valuable time. And this is very useful for our audience also. This is Mufidha signing off from V Podcast by V for Visuals.